Hello there and welcome back for my videos about Python and the Babel. In this video I will explain a little bit about the date and time and how you can use time zones and basically offer the time. So first we want to go for the Python file app.py and then we say from datetime, import datetime. That's what we need, and then we need the Babel here. Dates from Babel, and then we import format date. So the first we want to print out here should be date format, and then we have the D here, we say datetime or UTC. Yes, then we have the universal time zone and work with, and then we have the print, the good old print, and we need to format the date. And what we can do here, we can say which date format did we want to use. If you have a German customer, then you can print it out for the Germany format. If you have a Danish customer, you can have printed to the Danish. If you have an India, then you can print out in this format, and so far you can use it in the United States too if you want. But we need to the time zone here, and then locate is equal to en. It's meaning we are printed out in the English format. Let's save it and see we have the March the 8th 2020. If we're going down and change it to Danish time zone, I can just say English, and down here we can say whoops, we can say Danish, and we run it again, and you can see in Denmark we will say the 8th March of 2020. So that's a quick way to format your dates if you want. But then sometimes you need to have a shorter date, you have a full date, and you have a long date, and something like that. And of course the Babel have thinking about that, and you have 4 formats. The default is medium, but you have short, medium, long, and full. So let's print it out here. I will print out my Danish here. You can say default, and then we can say short and medium, long, and then we need the full. The only thing you need to put in here, it's before the it's not, doesn't matter where you do it, but you need to add the format here, and then we need to edit, and I'll do this same below here and say medium, and then we say long, and then we say full. And you can see short, it's the 8th of the March, and the 2020. The medium is what we're seeing up here in the default, and then we have the long. That's meaning the month is the full name, and then we have the full. It's saying it's Sunday in Danish, and Sunday the 8th March of 2020. On Danish we will have saying Søndag den 8. March 2020. So yeah, you can see that the language is a little bit different, but the date format is always the same, so that's perfect. And then we can speak a little about the time format when you have it. Right now we're speaking about the date format, but then I think it's a good one if we speak about the time, like the hours and seconds. And for this we have the time. It's time, and we just need to from time import time, and then I don't need this one, and then we print again, and Danish time, Danish, yes, and then we say format time, format, it's because I have need it up here. And then we need the time, locate, and we are speaking about the Danish time here. Let's run it, and you can see we have the Danish time is the 7. It's pretty early, the Sunday here, but it's still the UTC. So right now I know in Denmark we have the UTC +1, so it's 8 o'clock. So don't be too scary, but it's still early. But I love to work early in the morning. I don't like it when it's going to be late. So let's formatting this time a little bit. I will printing 2 hours here, and what we want here, it's we want AM, PM, and then we need the seconds on here. So we just need to put in here, and then we can say hours, minutes. Double M is meaning the minutes, and single H is meaning 12 hours. And then we put A, so we showing the AM and PM format. And then we're going down here and do the same, but down here we say the big H is meaning the 24 hours, and 2 M's and 2 S's to define seconds. Let's run it and see what's happening. And you can see we have 2020, and if I run it again, you can say that 2024, but it's still 7:20 AM and Danish time, so it will be +1. I will show you this when we're going a little bit later down, because then we're working with the time delta and the time zones. That's what we want to do now. Not the time zone yet. We first need the time delta in my document here, and then we say delta is equal to time delta, but we don't have the time delta, so we need to scrolling up and say the from format time delta, and it's pretty weird why I don't have put this up, but I know that, so we need here time delta, we have it here, so that's perfect. Normally I'm pretty good to read this down, but not for this, so yeah, let's continue and don't waste too much time. I will say 6 days. It's almost a week, but I will keep it in 6 days, so that's fine. And let's print. USA, it's formatted time delta, and we put the delta inside, and locations here should be in US, and I will put it out to Denmark too. And if you print it out here, you can see it should be 1 week here. Yeah, 1 week, and in Denmark we will call it en uge. So when you defined here the locate here, you will translate it to another language. So in this case we have 1 week on English and 1 week on Danish. Pretty cool. And the second one I will show the time delta is round up on the closest. Like if you have 1 day, you can see if we have 1 day here, 1 day, and if I have 8 days, it should be 2 weeks. 1 week, no, and let's say 12 days, and then we hit 2 weeks, but we're working with 6 days. If you want to round up to like every time, the smallest one should be 1 week, 1 month, 1 day, then you can manipulate it. If we do it this way, just copy this, you call it minimum month, and then you're going out here and say I cannot pronounce this, so I know the word but I cannot pronounce it, sorry. And then you change it to month and run it, and then you can say it will hit the month even if it's the 6 days. So that's how the time delta working in the Babel. You can use it to many different things. And then we are hitting the time zone. I love time zone. When you love time zone, it's because you have been the big mess of, yeah, you know that. Time zones, if you don't know time zones, it could be very painful to work with. But when you know how time zones working, how you can work with UTC and the time like this, you will love time zones, because then you can save all your times in UTC, Universal Time Zone, and then when you need it, you can change it. Because if I'm saving, it could be I update my customer data here in Denmark, and then I know the UTC +1 is Danish time zone, and you can see on the schedule here we have UTC time 7:23:31, and in US you will have exactly the same UTC time because it's universal. But when you hit the US, you probably have -5 in the time zone, and then in Denmark we have +1. So if you calculate that together, that's meaning when I'm sitting here and working 8 o'clock, then it's around 2 o'clock in the United States. And based on that, it's very good to know, because if you have customers crossing the world, we are living in a global world and working together crossing the countries, so it's very good to know the time zones. So that's a little pep talk from me to you. You can take it and you can put it in the trash if you don't like it, but I will recommend anybody, even if you're not a developer, to student how time zones is working. So that's not about my pains. Let's go into UTC now again. I need the new time zone. I know we have it up here, but I'm taking a new one. That's fine. And it's the USA. Yeah, USA. And then I want to format date time. I need to put up here and get time zone. Yeah, that's what we need down here. And then we need the D, and I want the 24 hours. It's much easier to show. And then I need the zone. And when we are working with the time zone, I will locate it to the US. How it's working. In English format, sorry, not the US. And so the English format is 7:27 and then a lot of zeros. If you want to change this, like if you want to change the time to Danish time in Copenhagen or US Eastern, then you can just do this. Eastern, and then you go down to say GZ info. It's staying for time zone information, and then we need to get time zone. When we have to get time zone from Babel, it's pretty easy, because then it's creating the time zone object we need to work with. In this case, I want to US Eastern, and then we need to go in for, I just want to leave this away. Nah, that's fine. Let's keep it. And then we have the Europe, and then Copenhagen. Let's copy this. And run it. And then you can see in the US Eastern, it's 3:28 -4 in the time zone. Perfect. And then we have the Europe Copenhagen is 80:28. So if you're in the Eastern US right now, then you are 4 hours behind the universal time zone. And if you're in Copenhagen like me, then you're in a +1. and that's how it's working. And that's funny because yesterday when I'm planning this video, the US Eastern is -5, so my document is not really bulletproof, but that's how I'm working with time zones. It's very interesting because you have so many options when you do the stuff. So I would recommend you in the future log everything you have, changes, inserts, dates, locking dates, everything, put it in a universal time zone. Then everybody across the world know what's happening. And if you need to have it in a single time zone, then I would recommend you to save the server time zone to it when you're working with it, because then you know we have saved it in a, let's say 7:28 in the universal time, but the server is staying in the US, the Eastern, and that's meaning the actual time it's locked. The data is -4 behind the universal time zone, and then later I'm in Denmark can see, oh, it's meaning it's 8:28 in the morning in Denmark. So it's open up for the options, but that's one more pep talk for you to how you can lock in your data, because it could be very painful if you're locking the time zones too wrong. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. The code can be found on GitHub, and you can subscribe my channel here on YouTube below on the thing, and of course you can follow me on the GitHub if you want. And I really hope you want to like this video, and I really hope you want to share it. And if you have any questions, please make a comment below, and don't forget to add it to your playlist, and don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you so much, and hope to see you next time. Bye bye.